哦，各位朋友，大家好，大家晚安，欢迎大家今天来参加我们2022年 European Study Talk 留学欧洲说明会12月2022年的最后一场。那这个活动是由欧洲在台官方单位联合举办，我们从今年2022年的9月一直要进行到2023年的2月，整个系列活动邀请到了超过50多所，将近60所的这个欧洲知名高等校院来进行这个留学欧洲线上说明会。国家有德国、英国、法国、比利时、荷兰、瑞士、瑞典以及意大利等专业的顶尖欧洲大学，将接力的为台湾学生你的留学欧洲计划来指点迷津。那学校除了有商管学院、资讯学院，更有著名的理工、设计、观光、医学科系等这个知名的，以及还有一些综合的大学的加入。他们都将提供你最新的教育制度、课程、申请流程、奖学金，还有一些毕业后在当地工作或者是创业的一些最新的资讯。你一定可以收集到你所需要的资讯和学长姐的经验分享。那这些都要来帮助你准备你的留学申请。那今晚留学欧洲不属未来，留学欧洲不属未来的这个留学比利时的优势，我们今天晚上的顺序是7点钟，待会会我们邀请到了这个比利时根特大学，以及7点50分的比利时瓦伦西亚以及布鲁塞尔校区的这个学校。这个麻雀虽小，五脏俱全的比利时拥有丰富的历史和文化，以及优美的这个些建筑物特色而闻名。那地理位置又较其他欧洲国家这个气候凉爽啊，处处洋溢着这个国际化的氛围，又是欧盟总部的坐落处。未来，如果你想要在这个比利时留学，当地的学费啊、生活费这些是否昂贵，以及还有在学校里面是否要学习荷兰语还是法语，当地的学术环境和签证等相关的资讯，我们待会都请学校代表来一一的为我们解说。那在这边跟大家稍微介绍一下我们比利时的根特大学。比利时根特大学是比利时学术排名第一的综合性的研究型的大学，那也是世界著名的这个百大学之一。那位于在比利时的这个荷兰语城市根特1817年根特大学由荷兰国王威廉一世创建，是比利时最早专门用荷兰语教学的这个教学的大学。那这个校区总共有11个学院，110个系所，在校学生约有4万多人，其中将有4000多是国际学生。教职员工大概有9000人以上。那根特大学在生物科技啊、医学、水产学，还有兽医学、心理学、农业以及还有林业学这些法学，还有基础跟应用研究领域都有非常强大的这个教学以及研究实力，在多项这个学术排名是于世界跟比利时的前面位置。那这一所这个一流的老牌大学，为全世界培养出了非常多的顶尖人才。这里曾经有出过了这个至少4名以上的诺贝尔奖得主，多位的这个比利时首相，还有前国际奥委主委主席，以及还有联合国这个艾滋病联合规划署的执行董事长。比利时科顿大学在比利时的境内是数1数2的大学，也都是排名1、2名的这个综合型的大学。那学校各区的各院校区坐落在根特的各个地方，你随处都可以发现根特大学的踪迹。那上课的大楼大部分离宿舍非常的近，大概走路也只要5分钟的时间。有些课程呢，也只需要骑个脚踏车就可以到达学校的这个上课位置。学校的宿舍呢，大概有分单人房，然后他们都有非常严格的这个管理跟照护，然后宿舍常常很快就满位咯。所以如果有打算想要去根特大学的同学，你在申请宿舍上面也可能手脚要快一点。那学校的这个整体位在这个荷语区，那大部分的商店也都会用英文来进行沟通。我们待会就来请根特大学的校代赶紧来帮我们介绍一下这个学校的课程以及还有学习环境，那可以告诉我们如何来部署你的未来，如何强化你的专业还有你的人脉。那待会在讲座当中，千万不要忘记将你的问题，甚至可以针对你自己的状况将你的问题打在我们的 Q&A 问与答的这个栏位当中。那我们待会在问与答的这个时间里面，我们会来请校代来帮我们做进行回答。 那紧接着后面是我们7:50的由比利时瓦伦西亚布鲁塞尔校区的这个学校来给大家做介绍。那待会校代也会带给我们详细的课程介绍、申请要求以及程序、学校生活以及费用等资讯，来听听看到底为什么要来比利时念书，在比利时念书的这个优势有什么？我们待会都请校代给我们详细的做介绍跟还有解说。Okay, now let's welcome Thomas Broerman from Belgium, Ghent University. Over to you, Thomas.
Thank you very much. I have the chat open as well. So if you, during my presentation, I will give a presentation for about 15 to 20 minutes. If you have any questions during my presentation, just put them in the chat and I'll see them. You do have to put them in English because I can't read anything else. But if you do that, then you don't have to wait until the end to ask any questions. I will now start sharing my screen, and I hope my screen is on my left, so I don't look always in the camera, just to have a just so that I know what I'm presenting to you. So I'm from Ghent University. You can always reach me at this email address that's on the slide, international@ughent.be. If you want this presentation, because I will present you also with some numbers about cost of living. If you want this presentation later onwards, you can just send an email, and it's easy if you mention EEF Taiwan presentation, then we know that it's you, that's somebody who I met here online. So don't hesitate to ask any questions, just send out an email. Yep. Ghent University. I start with some fast facts. We are established in 1817, so we are more than 200 years old. We have 11 faculties, and next to that you see the ones that we have: arts and philosophy, law and criminology, sciences, health science, engineering and architecture, economics, veterinary medicine, psychology, bioscience engineering, pharmaceutical sciences, and political and social sciences. At all of these faculties, we have English programs at the master level. Sorry. So we're looking for master students who want to study at one of those faculties. It's very important at Ghent University, we don't have English taught bachelor programs. So you can only apply with us for master studies. At this moment, we have more than 50,000 students, of which 8,000 students are international students. So more than 10% of our student body is international students, and they're coming from all over the world. So there's always somebody from your own country, but you have plenty of opportunity to meet other students from other countries as well. Why should Ghent be one of your top choices? Because we are ranked very highly in most international rankings. The ranking that we find the most important is the Shanghai ranking, because that's a ranking that is really objective. And so there we are, spot 74, but the National Taiwan University ranking, we are spot 77. Then the US Best Global University 85, the Times Higher Education 96, US 143, and then Europe Most Innovative Universities, we are placed 48. So we are, if you know that there are 10,000 universities in the world, and Ghent University is consistently in the top 100 of those rankings, that means that we are in the top 1% of the world. So it's a good, Ghent University because of that, might be a good choice, because it shows something about our quality. Then next, what you do need to know is that Ghent University, we don't have a classic campus. We have a city campus. So our university buildings are spread all over town. So this is a kind of a panorama on top of the slide, a panorama view of our city. And a lot of those higher buildings are university buildings. So it's a cozy medieval city with university buildings spread all over town, and depending on where, at which faculty you study, you stick to a certain cluster of buildings. But it does mean that the whole city, all the time you see students going from one building to the other, most of the times on bicycle. So it has a really good, the city itself has a really good university vibe and a young vibe as well. So this is, here we start. The first slides were some a little bit more promo talk, and now I start with the more serious stuff. If you have the time, you can scan this QR code with your phone, and then you arrive on the website that I will present to you. This website shows the English taught master program. So the master program that you can follow at Ghent University, which are in English. So I leave this open a little bit. So if you want, you can scan it and then follow along with my presentation. So the code brings you to the following website. It's our study guide that all the programs that you can study at Ghent University are in one study guide. And when you follow the QR code, I have put already two filters on. I've put a filter for master program, and I've put a filter for the language that the programs are in English, because we do have more than those 86. So we found 73 programs. We have more than those 73 programs, but all those other programs are in Dutch, which is of course not for any useful for you, because you're only interested in the programs which we teach in English. And then you will see we have all the programs over here: Master of African Studies, Master of Aquaculture. So they're all ranked alphabetically. So what you need to do is you go to one of these. Either you choose field of interest or you choose faculty to narrow down your choices. So if I go to the next slide, I've chosen faculty. You can also just, with field of interest, you can also say, okay, I'm interested in environment, or I'm interested in social sciences. It will result in the same. You just put on extra filters, and then you will find the programs that you want. As an example, I will use a program that we have at the Faculty of Economics, because those are programs that a lot of students are interested in, next to our Faculty of Engineering and the Faculty of Bioscience Engineering. Those are our three top faculties for international students. So you click on faculty and you see a drop-down menu. And for instance, either you can click on Faculty of Engineering and Architecture, but in this example, I've clicked on Faculty of Economic and Business Administration. And then when you click on it, this automatically changes and gives you the 8 programs that you can follow at our Faculty of Economics. And now you will see that the Faculty of Economics is an extra filter over here. And then in the next slide, I will click on the Master of Business Economics and Marketing. You arrive at this kind of website, Master of Science in Business Economics. And when you click on Program Summary, you see it here. This one opens, and then you have a list of all courses, and I will see if my next slide, no. And you can, if you want, you can click on every individual course. So this process, and I will go back to the start. So this process is what I advise for every student to do, not only for Ghent University, but also for all the universities that you're interested in. I can show you a lot of nice pictures of the city center and of our nice old buildings, which is all very nice, and you can take that into consideration. But as a student, the most important thing to take into consideration is, do you like the program, yes or not? A master in economics or a master in a certain engineering field can be different from university to university. So really check which master is good for you. You want to study a master in economics, that's really great, but check at different universities what the exact program is and base your choice on that program. So for us, for Ghent University, it works like this. You select your faculty, you go to the Master of Business Economics and Marketing, for instance, And you can click on every course of that program and read the content of every course. I ask you to invest a lot of time to do this, but really do it, because you can really see those are the courses that I had in my bachelor, and my ambition is to do microeconomics or to do macroeconomics, to work in a company or to work as a policy advisor for a Ministry of Business Affairs, for instance. For all those things, you need certain knowledge, and check the programs of different universities to see if that program is a right fit for you. Coming over to Europe, studying in Europe, I will talk about the price later on, is expensive. And it's also, of course, it's a big adventure. So make sure that at least you make a good, reasonable choice, so that the adventure is a little bit less scaring, that you know, like, okay, even if I go overseas, I know that I'm in a right fit for me. So go to our study guide through the QR code and do the same for the colleague or for my colleagues, the universities or in Paris or universities in Germany that you're also checking out. Do this exercise for all those universities and apply with the university that has a program that is a right fit for you. I'll give you some information about the cost of studying at Ghent University and the cost of living in Belgium. We have our yearly cost. I have made here an estimate of yearly cost. So this is for 12 months of studying. And it's the numbers are the total numbers. It's not per month. It's what you pay for a whole year. I start with this. You have tuition A and you have tuition B. We have two tuitions. Some of our courses have a tuition of around 2,000 euros, and other of our courses have a tuition of around just not 6,000 euros. 2,000 euros are the Faculty of Arts and Humanities, the Faculty of Sciences, and the Faculty of Political Sciences. 6,000 euros are, for instance, the Faculty of Engineering, the Faculty of Bioscience Engineering, and the Faculty of Economics and Business Administration, and the Faculty of Law. It's a cost that you pay once a year. So this is, in my opinion, I've put it also in Taiwanese dollars over here. So the comma is separates the thousands from the hundreds. So, for instance, tuition fee A is 1,000 euro 903 euros. So it's 61,536 Taiwanese dollars. In my opinion, this is relatively low if you compare the tuition fees of Ghent University with other European universities, and certainly if you compare it with universities in the UK or university in the US. You will see that this yearly tuition fee is very low. This has everything to do with the fact that Ghent University is a public university. So our government does not allow us to have higher tuition fees. So in a way, we decide that we keep a low tuition fee for everybody. It has a big but, and that is, if somebody has any questions later on about it, we don't have any tuition, we don't have any scholarships. We don't have any scholarships because our government decides to keep tuition fees low for everybody and not having high tuition fees and then scholarship for some students. So all students pay the same low tuition fee, which is around 2,000 euros for half of our programs and 6,000 euros for the programs which are more expensive to organize. Then the next cost is study cost. This is the tuition fee. This is the only cost that you pay to the university. There are no more hidden costs. This is the only thing that you pay once a year. If you follow a one-year master program, you pay it once. If you follow a two-year master program, you also need to pay this tuition fee twice at the start of every academic year. But at the moment, that's it. There is no other administrative cost. There is no application cost. That is the only thing that you pay to the university. Those other costs that I have listed here are estimations of what it costs to live in Belgium. And of course, you do not pay this for the university. It's just that you can know what your life in Belgium will cost you. And so that's the second thing I say to people. Have a look at the study programs of different universities, see what your preferred program is, and then take a look at your finances. Ghent University, but also the other universities in Belgium, which are all public universities, we are pretty cheap if you compare us to other countries. So that could be one of the reasons why you decide to come and study in Belgium or to come and study at Ghent University. I showed you the rankings before, and I always start with those rankings just to make sure that you understand that it's not because we're cheap that we are low quality. Those rankings show that we are a high ranked university in the top 1% of the world. And it's just a decision of the Belgian government to keep tuition fees low. So we are financed by our government, and international students can also enjoy that financial model. If you will compare our tuition fee to the other universities who are in the top 100 of the Shanghai ranking or of the Times Higher Education ranking, you will see for sure that quality and price of Ghent University is a very nice deal. Study cost is what you pay, for instance, for some extra books, for pens, paper, everything involved with studying. Housing is about a little bit of 5,000 euros a year, and this is an estimation, and it's we have university housing, and there is also housing on the private market. The price difference between university housing and the private market is not really big. You can find cheaper options on the private market. You can find more expensive options on the private market than the Ghent University housing. But you have to, for 12 months, it's 150,000 Taiwanese dollars. Mobility, this is what a 1 year ticket for the bus costs. So a 1 year ticket. This is buying a bicycle, for instance. 1 year of food in Belgium, 1 year of clothing, health. This is important because everybody needs to buy health insurance in Belgium, so you cannot save on this cost. And then leisure, this is a cost that you can save on a little bit, but not that much. I did not put it that low, but also not that high. That's everything going out. Ghent is a nice city, so for sure you will go out, have some dinner someplace, or go to a bar and have some drinks. So I took into account around 1,000 euros for that. This whole cost estimation is pretty accurate. It's based on research that has been done by a study center that is calculating the cost of studying in Belgium for Belgian parents. So this is what a Belgian student pays for 1 year of studying at Ghent, at housing and everything. So it's a pretty good estimate of what it costs to study 1 year in Belgium. So tuition fee can differ from university to university, but those other things, they cannot differ that much from different European countries. France, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, we're all in the same ballpark. This is what your cost of living will be in the whole of Europe in a way. So if you want this breakout, just send me an email at international@ughent.be, and I send you this presentation, and then you can see what we believe if you take tuition fee A or tuition fee B in consideration. This is the total amount of money that you need for studying at Ghent University for 1 year. I hope this is informative for you and that you can base a decision on that. So a little bit what I said before, Ghent University is a public university. You have to compare our cost with private and public universities. If you decide between two universities, make sure that you know, is it a public or a private university? You will see that all private universities will be much more expensive than the public universities, but then also compare public universities with each other. And you will see that for a public university, Ghent University is very highly ranked, and we have the advantage of a low tuition fee as a public university. In some countries, public university also charge higher tuition fees for people who are not from the country. In Belgium, that's not the case. So low tuition fee, compare our cost with other countries, you will see that the cost of living in all European countries is a little bit the same, but in comparison to the US, I think life in Europe is a little bit cheaper. So that could also be a plus. The big downside of Ghent University, like I said before, is that we don't have any scholarships because our tuition fees are already so low. We don't have any margin for scholarships. Of course, I always tell to people, imagine that you have to pay 30,000 euros and you get a 50% scholarship. So you only have to pay 15,000 euros. And you, of course, you got a gift of 15,000, but you still will pay more than at Ghent University. So in a way, that's the reasoning about not having any scholarships. So that's the end of my presentation. I leave this QR code, I leave it on so that you can scan it and you arrive at our study guide. If you want this presentation, send me an email, international@ugent.be. It makes my life easier if you mention EF Taiwan presentation, but in any case, you receive an answer from me. Yeah. And so I have the chat over here. So if somebody has any questions, you either put it in the chat or you ask our host to translate your question.
Thanks, Thomas. Great presentation. I can definitely see the advantages to study in Belgium and also study in Ghent University. So I guess, yeah, we do have some question. Yeah, we can go for the first question that student asking. Thanks for the presentation. The student would like to know how's the working opportunity and also future development, I think for the specific program, pharmacy, numerical engineering program.
Okay. So one of the things that you, first of all, the working opportunities, first as a student. If you, as a student, if you want to work, and this not only applies for Ghent University, this applies for the whole of Belgium. If you want to work as a student, you're allowed only a limited amount of hours because you arrive in Belgium with a student visa, and so your designation in society is that you are a student, and all students, also Belgian students, are allowed to work a limited amount of hours. A lot of our students, Belgians, international students, a lot of them do it, but only a limited amount of hours. It's 20 hours a week. You can do the classic student jobs like working in a bar or a restaurant, but you can, of course, based on your bachelor degree, also work in a company that is connected to your bachelor degree. That's no problem. But again, they will register you as a student. So that's during your studies. And then for the whole of Europe, this is very important, and it can have an effect on your decision to study in Europe or not. But for the whole of Europe, it goes like this. You arrive in the European Union with your student visa based on your application. So you apply, for instance, at Ghent University, you are admitted, you get a letter of admission. With that letter of admission, you apply for a student visa. This works for the whole of, this works at all European countries. And so you will be in Belgium as a student. When you graduate, after, for instance, a 2-year master program, you graduate and your student, you yourself, it doesn't work automatically, but you can apply to change your student visa into what we call a search visa. A search visa is a visa that gives you the right to stay in Belgium for 1 year to look for a job. So you have 1 whole year to look for a job. If you find a job, that visa is changed into a work visa, and then the stay of that work visa or the period of that work visa depends on your contract. So everybody who studies in Europe, not only in Belgium, but in all European countries, everybody who studies in Europe gets the opportunity to stay in Europe and to look for a job. And then the nice thing with Europe is that we have the open borders. So you come to study in Belgium, it does not have to block you to go and look for a job in the Netherlands, in France, or in Germany, because the borders are open. And with your visa that gave you entry into Belgium, you can go to all the countries for which the borders are open. This is not only nice after your study, this is also nice during your study. If you want to make a trip, it goes easily. You just go from one country to another by train or anything. So administratively, it is easy to go and look for a job and to get a visa. Work-wise, if you are talking about pharmaceutical engineering, or if you are talking about biotech engineering, any engineering or economics, all those degrees that probably in Taiwan also have a very large labor market, that is the same over here. People who certainly in pharma in Belgium is a big sector. So if people who graduate with those kind of degrees find a job within half a year for sure, if not sooner. People with an engineering degree, most of the time they have a job before they graduate. So that's no problem.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great. So for the student, if they want to study in Ghent University, for example, like the engineering subject, would you suggest that student might need to take another second language like the Dutch or Germany or French in study in Belgium?
No, it's not necessary. So in our engineering and sciences, in economics and bioscience engineering, the program that you will find on our website through the QR code, through our study guide, all those programs are in English. They are taught in English. Of course, within society, in the part of the country where I live, we speak Dutch. In the other part, my colleagues from campus Brussels Wallonie are the next presentation. There they speak French, but in both parts of our country, everybody speaks English. So our international students, we have some courses. When you arrive here, you can follow an evening course, Dutch for international students. It's this kind of beginner's course. And at the end of the course, you can order food in a restaurant, this kind of stuff. But you don't need anything more. Certainly in cities like Ghent, Brussels, Antwerp, Liège, everybody speaks English. You can go to a shop in English. You can go to a restaurant in English. So certainly don't waste your time in advance on that. Focus on mathematics and focus on sciences and on English. And that's more important.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds a very advantage, to study in the center of the Europe. Okay, our next question. Yeah, the student is asking, could I ask the percentage of foreign students who find their jobs in Belgium or Europe? Do you have any data for that?
I don't have any data for that. It's a good question. I'll try to add this to future presentations. Because a lot of our students, I even don't have any data on how many students go back or how many students stay here. We don't have this. We don't have that much of an alumni policies like American universities. We recently started with that, so maybe in some future years we have more data on that. I'm pretty sure that for the whole of Europe, when you Google this, that you will find an answer for that. But again, depending on the degree. I can tell you, well, for bioscience engineering, pharmaceutical engineering, or pharmaceutical sciences, that there are jobs available. But I cannot put any numbers on that.
I echo to you with your answer as well. I think because Belgium and also Ghent is the center of the Europe, and there are so many big like global change issue, global change topic, or green energy, like wind turbine, wind shell, those subjects are like a big subject or issue is happening in the Euro. So it's definitely, for a student who is studying for those subjects, I definitely think if they can graduate successfully, they will be able to find a job in Belgium, either in the Europe, quite easily as well.
Yes, for sure. And that again, it taps into those rankings. Those rankings not only show you where Ghent University is in comparison to other universities. It's also a kind of a quality label that employers all over the world recognize. So even if you don't stay in Europe, which is reasonable, if you go to someplace else, Ghent University is well known, and you have American universities where you can also have a very good experience, but which are in comparison to us are internationally are small institutes. And so even if there are a lot of international companies with home to Belgium, but who work in Taiwan, for instance. I know companies over there who are doing the offshore engineering with windmills and everything. And so those companies do know Ghent University, and they know our engineering schools. And so it's a kind of an entry ticket for the whole world. What is also important is that if you're doubting between America or other countries and the European Union, you need to you probably all know, so the European Union is organizing higher education as a whole in Europe. So it makes that the higher education system in Europe is the biggest higher education system in the world. In another way, it's the dollar of higher education, because we do have, with our credit system and everything, we have the biggest integrated higher education system. So it means that any degree in Ghent, they will recognize in Switzerland, they will recognize it in Spain. They say like, okay, this is European University, we know the codes, we know everything. So in the rest of the world, they also know, if you're coming from a European university, they know, okay, the quality label of the European Union is on that. So that's a big plus, not only for Ghent, but for all universities in Europe, as a big plus for our system.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, definitely. Okay, our next question. I think the student is looking for the PhD program. That do you have any website that student can go into to see a detail of the program, or can you maybe briefly introducing about the PhD program?
So the explanation I will give you is an explanation that works for all Belgian universities. I know that in other countries that you can enroll for a PhD program, and it's a kind of bachelor or undergraduate, graduate, and then a PhD program. In Belgium and in other countries like France, the Netherlands, it works a little bit differently. So the US, UK are different, but most of continental Europe, it works as follows, is that PhDs you become part of a research project. It's not really an educational program. So in Belgium, for instance, all of our professors, they have research projects, and they are looking for students to step into that research project. And at the end of the project, you receive your PhD based on the research that you have done and based on the thesis that you write within that project. And we see it more as job applications instead of an application for a regular educational program. Therefore, at the website of Ghent University, it's very simple, ughent.be, you will find one page designated to incoming PhD. And if you go on that page, you click on it and you will see all the research positions that are open at the moment. And so you can apply for all positions that are at that moment that are open. And that is something that you will find at every Belgian university. So either you go to the website of Study in Belgium of my colleague that you will hear after me, but we also have the website Study in Flanders. There you find all the Flemish universities, and all of those universities have open PhD positions where everybody can apply for. But it's more a job application than an educational application. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I just typed the message on the chat to all audiences that for the PhD program, just look for, get on your website, university website, and to look for more detail. So can you tell us what's the route, and then how could students apply or submit their application to Ghent University? Are there any specific website or?
So the application, you just go through our website, and there it's a normal application procedure where we don't have any application fee or anything, and we ask the students. So you choose the program, you click all that, you put in all your data. And you will have to upload scans of your degrees and everything. They don't have to be officialized yet. That's only when you arrive here in Belgium. But it's a fairly easy procedure. Again, it takes some time. So applying takes some time. But when I'm talking to students, I always say, look, apply at Ghent University, apply at one of our colleague universities, either in Flanders or in Wallonia, Brussels, apply at a German university and see where you get admitted, yes or no. And if you then compare all the admissions offers that you received, and then take into account what the cost of the program is the program really what you want? Maybe the Ghent program economics is a little bit more than what you want at the program in Germany, or vice versa. The German program can be better, but wait for all answers to arrive and then make your decision. Only after applying, you receive a letter of admission, and only then you need to apply for a visa, and only afterwards you pay the money. So in a way, application doesn't cost you anything. So I always advise people, if you are doubting about Ghent University, just apply. You invest some of your time, you invest 1 to 2 hours for sure, but time we all have in one way or another. And it doesn't cost you anything more than your own time.
Oh, wow, that's really another advantage to apply for us to study in Belgium again. So maybe can you give us some information about living the welfare for the student, what sort of the study environment that study in Ghent University?
Okay, Ghent, and that's a little bit the same for all cities in Belgium with a university. It are relatively smaller cities. You cannot compare them to Taipei, for instance. So it's relatively small cities. It's really how you probably, if you imagine how a smaller university city in Europe is, that is what Ghent, Leuven, Antwerp, Brussels, Liège, that is what those cities are. Medieval cities, old buildings, a lot of people walking around, cycling around. And within this group of a lot of people, you have tons of students walking from one university building to another. In all those cities, we really don't have campus universities. The universities are spread all over town. So Ghent, in that regard, is a city that is really very lively, and that is thanks to the students. So we have a lot of areas where there are a lot of students. So because of that, there are libraries, little bars, little coffee bars, restaurants, all catering to the needs of the students. So it's a cozy life outside of university. Within the university, it's a very competitive environment. Our professors are pretty strict, so that it's not only for international students, also for our own Belgian students. For them, the shock between high school and university is a big shock. Your students, they already have a bachelor degree, but there will always be a little bit of a culture shock, because ways of teaching, the teaching style of professors is different than probably it is in Taiwan. So there's always some culture shock, but it's not our international students at Ghent, they have a lot of success. Most of them, again, because they are master students, 80 to 90% of our students succeed. So it's not that it's undoable, but a lot they have to work hard. Yeah, that is the case.
Okay, I think we can have another question. The student is asking, do you have any data maybe for the individual, maybe the excellent or the top department or subject at the Ghent University in the world? Maybe like in ranking, is it like the top 5, top 10 or something like that?
Yeah, so for everything that is considered with life sciences and biotechnology, Ghent is in the top 5 of the world. So that's because, for instance, plant biotechnology and medical biotechnology, we have a very big research industry cluster over here in Belgium, where we collaborate, for instance, with Johnson & Johnson, the big pharma company. They have research center over here that is combined with our research and education center. So it's this really cluster of education and research. So for everything considering life sciences, Ghent University is top 5 in the world. Ghent University is next to that for veterinary sciences, but not a lot of students are doing veterinary sciences. Ghent University, if you Google it, it's the number 1 school in the world. Only a school in Canada comes close to what we do. So those are our 2 major areas. In all the rest of the exact sciences, Ghent University is highly ranked, but those 2 really pop out as like the best thing. So everything, bioscience, engineering, life sciences, veterinary sciences, Ghent University is the right place.
Yeah, sounds good. Yep. I think also the time is up. Thanks for Thomas, great information and very detailed information about the program today. So we hope a student will send you lots of questions or asking for the presentation PowerPoint from you. And then so they would get in touch with you, keep in touch with you for all kinds of questions. Thanks again to Thomas for your information tonight. So we hope to see you soon again and to have you back to give us another presentation next time. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Good luck, everybody, and I hope you make a good decision. Bye bye.
Thank you. Okay, bye bye. 好，那我们这一场比利时甘特大学的说明会就到这边。当然，你还是可以继续跟校代继续来提问跟咨询。那或者是你可以上我们的脸书，或者是写信给我们，我们可以将你的问题来转给校代，请他们回答。那大家稍作休息一下，我们下一场比利时瓦兰西亚布鲁塞尔 campus 的说明会。待会马上7点50分开始，我们待会请大家7点45分回来再上线，好吗？那我们稍作休息，我们马上回来，待会见，拜拜。